I stared at the divorce papers sitting on my boutique's counter, my hands trembling as I gripped the edge of the polished wood. The morning sun streaming through the display window felt like a spotlight on my humiliation. "It's simple, Jolie," Craig said, his voice carrying that patronizing tone I'd grown to hate. "Sign over controlling interest in the boutique, or sign these." He tapped the divorce papers with his manicured finger. "My name is Jolie, and until 10 minutes ago, I thought I had a loving husband and a thriving business I'd built from scratch. Funny how quickly your world can shatter over a cup of morning coffee." "This is what's best for everyone," Jose, my brother-in-law, chimed in from where he lounged against the vintage dress rack I'd spent years curating. "The Fletcher family name carries weight in this city. We can take this little shop of yours national." I walked to my office, high heels clicking with purpose now. Craig and Jose thought they could bully me into submission, thought they could steal what I'd built through threats and ultimatums. They had no idea what they'd just started. Opening my laptop, I began to type. Emergency business meeting agenda, Operation Phoenix. The name felt right. After all, I was about to rise from the ashes of this betrayal, and I was going to make damn sure the Fletcher brothers burned in the process. The cafe where I met Marlene was our usual spot, tucked away from the business district where Craig and Jose spent their days playing corporate warriors. I hadn't slept, hadn't cried, hadn't done anything except plan since they'd left my boutique yesterday. "You look like hell," Marlene said, pulling me into a tight hug. Her familiar perfume, something floral and expensive, wrapped around me like armor. "Thanks. I feel worse." I slumped into the chair across from her, the events of yesterday spilling out between sips of too hot coffee. Marlene's face darkened as I recounted Craig and Jose's ultimatum. "Those entitled little boys," she muttered. "I knew Craig was ambitious, but this is a new low. 7 years, Marlene." My voice cracked. 7 years of marriage, and he was just waiting for the right moment to stop. Marlene reached across the table, gripping my hand. "This isn't about Craig anymore. This is about you and what you're going to do next." A waitress appeared with our usual orders. Chicken Caesar for Marlene, club sandwich for me. I picked at the crust, my appetite nowhere to be found. "I can't lose the boutique," I said. "It's everything I've worked for, everything I am." "Good." Marlene's eyes sparkled. "Because I've arranged a meeting for you, tonight. Some very interesting women want to meet you." I raised an eyebrow. "What kind of women?" "The kind who eat men like Craig and Jose for breakfast." She pulled out her phone, showing me a series of profiles. Peyton Norton, CEO of a successful retail chain, Reese Murphy, business strategist extraordinaire, and Kendall Spencer, the marketing genius behind some of the biggest brand transformations in the city. "Why would they want to meet me?" Marlene smiled, that knowing smile that had guided me through countless business decisions. "Because, darling, your story isn't unique. Each of these women has faced their own Craig, their own Jose, and they've all come out stronger." My phone buzzed. Another text from Craig. "Have you made your decision?" I showed it to Marlene, who snorted. "Block him. Right now." I did, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. "Now," Marlene continued, "go home, take a shower, put on that red power suit I helped you pick last month, and meet me at the Reserve at 7. These women are interested in more than just hearing your story." "What do you mean?" "Let's just say they see potential in your boutique. Potential that goes far beyond what those Fletcher boys could ever imagine." I felt a spark of something. Hope, maybe. Or determination. "You really think they can help?" "Help?" Marlene laughed. "Honey, they're going to help you burn Craig's world to the ground. In the most legal and profitable way possible, of course." Back home, I found Craig had indeed moved out. The closet was half empty, his toiletries gone. On the kitchen counter, he'd left his house key and a note. "It's not too late to be reasonable." I crumpled the note and tossed it in the trash. In the shower, I finally let myself cry. Not for Craig, but for the years I'd wasted believing in him. By the time I stepped out, my eyes were clear and my resolve was steel. The red suit fit perfectly, a reminder of who I was before Craig. I touched up my makeup, erasing all traces of tears, and headed for the Reserve. Marlene was waiting outside, elegant as always in black. Ready? No, I admitted. But I'm going in anyway. That's my girl. She linked her arm through mine. Just remember, these women aren't here to judge you. They're here to help you rise. As we walked into the upscale restaurant, I caught my reflection in a mirror. I looked different somehow. Stronger. Fiercer. Craig had wanted to break me, to force me into submission. Instead, he'd freed me. There they are, Marlene whispered, nodding toward a corner table where 3 women sat, radiating power and confidence. Little shop? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. I built this little shop while you were still trying to convince people to invest in your crypto schemes, Jose. Craig stepped closer, attempting to place his hand on my shoulder. I jerked away. Baby, please. This isn't personal, it's business. The boutique has potential, but you're thinking too small. Jose has connections. Peyton, the CEO, stood first, extending her hand. Jolie, we've heard so much about you. Please join us. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. This wasn't the end of my story. It was just the beginning. And if Craig and Jose thought they'd seen the last of me, they were in for one hell of a surprise. Ladies, I said, sliding into the empty chair, I believe we have some business to discuss. So, Peyton said, swirling her wine glass, tell us why we should invest in your boutique. Her direct approach caught me off guard, but I appreciated the lack of small talk. Because it's not just a boutique, I replied, straightening in my chair. It's a sanctuary. Every woman who walks through those doors is looking for more than just clothes. They're looking for transformation. Kendall leaned forward, her dark eyes intense. Transformation? Elaborate on that. Last week, a woman came in, recently divorced, hadn't bought new clothes in years. By the time she left, she wasn't just carrying shopping bags. She was walking differently. Head high, shoulders back. That's what I do. I don't just sell clothes. I help women rediscover themselves. Reese tapped her perfectly manicured nails on the table. Sweet story, but sentiment doesn't pay bills. Show us numbers. I pulled out my tablet, sliding it across the table. 3 years of consistent growth, profit margins above industry standard, 0 debt, and a client return rate of 87%. The 3 women huddled over the screen, murmuring to each other. Marlene squeezed my hand under the table. Impressive, Peyton admitted, but your soon-to-be ex-husband wasn't entirely wrong. You are thinking too small. I know. I took a deep breath. That's why I need you. I don't just want to save my boutique. I want to expand it. Turn it into something bigger than Craig or Jose could ever imagine. Kendall sat back, studying me. What's your vision? A franchise. But not just any franchise. Each location would be part boutique, part community center. Style workshops, career coaching, networking events. A place where women lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. That's going to take serious capital, Reese pointed out. I have savings, I said, and the boutique's current success. Won't be enough, Peyton interrupted. Not for what you're proposing. My heart sank, but I refused to let it show. Then tell me what will be enough. The 3 women exchanged looks. Finally, Kendall spoke. We could help, but we'd need 51% ownership. My stomach lurched. That's what Craig wanted. No, Reese corrected sharply. Craig wanted to steal your dream. We want to help you expand it. There's a difference. How can I trust that? Peyton pulled out her phone, pulling up an article. Read this. It was about her company's employee profit-sharing program, one of the most generous in the industry. And this, she said, showing another article about Reese's work, helping women-owned businesses secure funding. We've all been where you are, Kendall added softly. Men trying to steal what we built. The difference is, we fought back, together. And won, Reese added with a wolfish grin. I looked at Marlene, who nodded encouragingly. What exactly are you proposing? Peyton leaned forward. 51% ownership, but you remain CEO. We provide capital, connections, and expertise. You provide the vision and day-to-day leadership. In 3 years, you get the option to buy back up to 70% ownership. And if I fail? You won't, all 3 said simultaneously. How can you be so sure? Kendall smiled. Because you're sitting here instead of signing those divorce papers. Because you'd rather fight than submit. And because you're not afraid of powerful women, you want to create more of them. We've been watching you, Reese added. Your boutique's reputation, your customer loyalty, your business acumen, you're ready for this step. You just need the right partners. I took a sip of water, buying time to think. I need 24 hours to consider it. Connections? I cut him off. You mean like the connections that lost you both 50 grand in that real estate scheme last year? The one I warned you about? Jose's face darkened. That was different. And if you'd just get out. My voice was quiet but firm. Jolie, be reasonable, Craig pleaded. This is your last chance. Either sign over 60% of the business, or... He gestured at the divorce papers. You have 12, Peyton said. We move fast in this business. Then I'll need to see the paperwork tonight. Reese grinned, pulling out a folder. Already prepared. Take it home, review it with your lawyer. As I stood to leave, Peyton caught my arm. One more thing. If you accept, be ready for war. Craig and Jose won't take this lying down. I thought of Craig's smugness, Jose's condescension, their attempt to bully me into submission. Good, I said. I'm counting on it. Walking out of the reserve, Marlene beside me, I felt lighter than I had in days. They're the real deal, aren't they? I asked. They're sharks, Marlene replied. But they're our kind of sharks, the kind who protect their own. I clutched the folder to my chest, already knowing what my answer would be. Craig and Jose wanted to take everything from me. Instead, they might have just given me exactly what I needed, a reason to become unstoppable. The lease terms for the second location are ridiculous, Reese snapped, pacing across my boutique's back office. 2 weeks had passed since I'd signed the partnership agreement, and we were already hitting our first major roadblock. It's the best space in the downtown shopping district, I argued. The foot traffic alone. Will mean nothing if we're bleeding money on rent, Kendall cut in, not looking up from her laptop. We need to be smart about this, Jolie. Expansion isn't just about location. I slumped in my chair, frustration building. Then what do you suggest? Peyton, who had been quietly studying market reports, finally spoke. What about the old textile factory on Madison Avenue? That's nowhere near the shopping district, I protested. Exactly. Peyton's eyes sparkled. It's in an up-and-coming area. Lots of young professionals moving in. Rent's cheaper, and we could design the space from scratch. Make it uniquely ours. My phone buzzed. Another text from Jose. You're making a huge mistake. Craig's lawyer will be in touch. Still threatening you? Kendall asked, noticing my expression. Daily. Craig filed the divorce papers yesterday. Good, Reese said firmly. Let him. While he's busy with that, we'll be building an empire. The door chimed, and Marlene walked in carrying coffee for everyone. Ladies, you need to see this. She handed me her tablet. On it was a social media post from Jose announcing the launch of Fletcher Fashion House, a high-end boutique concept suspiciously similar to mine. That sneaky little... I started. Perfect, Peyton interrupted, grinning. Let them waste time and money copying what you used to be. We're creating something entirely new. Kendall nodded enthusiastically. Actually, this could work in our favor. While they're focused on competing with your current model, we'll be revolutionizing the entire concept. The textile factory, I said slowly, the idea taking shape. We could have a coffee bar, a co-working space. Now you're thinking, Reese pulled out her tablet. I've got preliminary numbers for renovation costs. It's not cheap, but it's doable, Peyton finished, especially if we phase the build-out. A knock at the door interrupted us. Through the glass, I saw Craig standing there looking annoyed. I've got this, Marlene said, moving to intercept him. We watched as she spoke to him briefly, her stance protective, before he stormed off. He wanted to talk sense into me, I guessed when she returned. Actually, he wanted to see our business plans. Said as your husband, he has a right to know. Soon-to-be ex-husband, I corrected. And he has no rights here anymore. Speaking of rights, Kendall said, pulling up a document. Our trademark application for Phoenix Rising just got approved. The new brand is officially protected. I smiled, remembering the late-night brainstorming session where we'd come up with the name. It felt right, a symbol of transformation and renewal. "Ladies," Peyton announced, standing up, "I think it's time we looked at that factory space. Jolie, you drive." The factory was nothing like I'd imagined. High ceilings, huge windows, exposed brick. It was raw but full of potential. I picked up the stack of papers, feeling their weight in my hands. 7 years of marriage reduced to legal jargon and dotted lines. I walked to the door, my heels clicking against the hardwood floors my father had helped me install when I first opened the boutique. "Picture it," Kendall said, gesturing expansively. "First floor, boutique space, but organized by lifestyle, not just size. Second floor, event space and co-working area. Third floor, offices and a photography studio for our online presence. The loading dock could become an outdoor cafe," Reese added. "And look at these support columns, perfect for creating intimate shopping areas." I walked the space, seeing it through their eyes. This wasn't just a store, it was a statement, a declaration of independence. "What's the timeline?" I asked. 3 months to basic renovation," Peyton said. 6 to full completion. We can open in phases. And Craig and Jose's boutique? "Will be old news before it even opens," Kendall assured me. "Trust me, I've got a marketing strategy that will make them irrelevant." My phone buzzed again. Craig's lawyer this time, demanding a meeting. "Ignore it," Reese advised. "Focus on this, on building something they can't touch." Looking around the vast space, I felt a surge of excitement. Craig and Jose had tried to take my dream from me. Instead, they'd forced me to dream bigger. "Let's do it," I said, "all of it, but I want to be open before they are." "Now that's the kind of aggressive thinking we like," Peyton laughed. "Time to show those boys what happens when they underestimate the wrong woman." As we left the factory, I caught my reflection in one of the dusty windows. I barely recognized myself. This woman looked confident, powerful, unstoppable. Craig had no idea what he'd unleashed. "The renovation costs have doubled," Reese announced, dropping a thick folder onto the conference table in our temporary office. "The contractor found asbestos in the walls." I felt my stomach drop. We were 6 weeks into the project, and our carefully planned budget was already spiraling. "We can't stop now," I said, flipping through the new estimates. "The Fletcher Fashion House opens in 8 weeks. "Maybe we should consider outside investment," Kendall suggested carefully. "I've had several inquiries since our press release." As if on cue, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "Heard about your project. Interested in discussing investment opportunities. Hugo Murphy." "Hugo Murphy?" Peyton's head snapped up. "The real estate developer? You know him?" "Know of him," she corrected. "He has a reputation for swooping in when businesses are vulnerable, offering cash with strings attached." Another text buzzed through. "Having lunch at the Capitol Grill. Join me? Time-sensitive offer. He wants to meet. Today." "Go," Reese said. "But don't sign anything. We need to know what we're dealing with." The Capitol Grill was packed with business people when I arrived. Hugo Murphy stood out immediately, expensive suit, perfect smile, radiating confidence. "Jolie," he said, rising to greet me. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." "Mr. Murphy?" "Hugo, please." He gestured to the seat across from him. I took the liberty of ordering wine. "It's noon," I said. "It's a celebration." He smiled. "I've been following your project closely. Very impressive. Very ambitious." Something in his tone reminded me of Craig. "What exactly are you proposing?" "Direct. I like that." He pulled out a folder. "I'm prepared to offer $5 million in immediate capital, enough to complete your renovation and fund expansion to 3 additional locations." My heart raced. That kind of money would solve all our current problems. And in return? 55% ownership and 2 seats on the board. I nearly choked on my water. That would dilute my current partner's shares. "Business is business," he shrugged. "Sometimes tough decisions need to be made. Just ask your ex-husband." My blood ran cold. "You know Craig?" "We've discussed some potential collaborations. In fact, he suggested I reach out to you." Everything clicked into place. This isn't about investment. This is about control. Hugo's smile didn't waver. Everything's about control, Jolie. Craig told me you were idealistic. Said you'd rather struggle than accept help. You want to know something funny? I said, holding the door open. I always wondered why you pushed so hard for me not to have your name on the business registration. Keep your independence, you said. Maintain your brand. I thought you were being supportive. Craig's expression flickered. No. You were making sure I couldn't drag the precious Fletcher name down if I failed. Except I didn't fail, did I? And now you want what I built. Help? I laughed. Is that what you call this? A hostile takeover by proxy? I call it an opportunity, one that won't be available tomorrow. He slid the folder toward me. Think about it. $5 million, all your problems solved. I stood up, leaving the folder untouched. My only problem was trusting men like you and Craig. I won't make that mistake again. Don't be foolish, he called after me. You can't compete with what we're building. Back at the office, I found Peyton, Reese, and Kendall waiting anxiously. How bad was it? Kendall asked. $5 million, 55% ownership, and oh yeah, he's working with Craig. That snake, Reese muttered. He's trying to take control from both sides. We need that money, I admitted, but I won't let them win. Not like this. Peyton smiled suddenly. Maybe we don't need their money after all. Remember that women's investment collective I mentioned? The one that only backs female-owned businesses? They're looking for their next big project. And unlike Hugo, they don't want control. They want revolution. My phone buzzed again. Hugo. Offer expires at midnight. Don't let pride cost you everything. I showed them the message. What do you think? I think, Kendall said, her eyes gleaming, it's time to show these men what happens when they try to play both sides. Call the collective, I told Peyton, and call Marlene. We need to move fast. What about the asbestos? Reese asked. We'll figure it out, but we're doing it our way. I pulled up the construction plans. No compromises, no hostile takeovers, no men trying to save us from ourselves. Craig's going to be furious when he realizes his plan backfired, Kendall grinned. Good, I said, thinking of his smug face at lunch weeks ago. Let him learn what it feels like to be outmaneuvered. I sent a single text to Hugo. Not interested, but thanks for showing your hand. Then I blocked his number, just like I'd blocked Craig's. Some bridges were meant to be burned. 3 days until opening, Kendall announced, directing the installation of our massive Phoenix Rising sign. And we're already fully booked for the first month of workshops. I walked through our transformed space, still amazed by how far we'd come. The Women's Investment Collective had come through with exactly what we needed, funding without strings, backed by people who understood our vision. Jolie, Reese called from the second floor. The co-working space furniture just arrived. We need your final approval on the layout. As I climbed the stairs, Marlene burst through the front door. We have a situation. What now? I asked, already dreading the answer. Craig and Jose moved up their opening. They're launching tomorrow. What? I nearly stumbled on the last step. They can't be ready. They're not, Marlene said, pulling up their social media announcement. But they're doing it anyway, trying to steal our thunder. Peyton emerged from her office, phone in hand. That's not all. They're using your original boutique's client list to promote it. That list is proprietary. I felt my face flush with anger. Craig must have copied it before he left. Already on it, Reese said, typing furiously on her laptop. I'm having our lawyer send a cease and desist. It won't stop tomorrow's opening, Kendall pointed out. No, I agreed. But maybe we don't want to stop it. They all turned to look at me. Think about it, I continued. They're rushing, they're unprepared, and they're desperate. Let them open. Let them fail. Meanwhile, Peyton caught on, grinning. We stick to our plan. Open in 3 days exactly as scheduled. With one small addition, I said, an idea forming. Kendall, remember that marketing campaign we discussed? The one about transformation? The before and after stories? Of course. Move it up. Launch it tomorrow morning. Show everyone what real female empowerment looks like. Kendall's eyes lit up. I'll call the photographer. We can shoot the final videos tonight. And I'll alert our social media team, Reese added. We'll flood every platform with success stories right as they're cutting their ribbon. My phone rang. Craig's lawyer again. This time I answered. Hello, Richard. Let me guess. Craig wants to discuss terms. He's willing to be generous in the divorce settlement if you'll agree to certain conditions regarding your new business venture. Jose stepped forward, his expensive suit rustling. Don't be dramatic. We're offering you a partnership. A partnership? I laughed again, louder this time. You mean like the partnership where I own 40% and somehow end up doing 100% of the work while you two play business tycoons with my life's work? No thanks. Then you leave us no choice, Craig said, his voice hardening. You have 48 hours to decide, or I file these papers. I laughed. Tell Craig he lost the right to discuss conditions when he tried to steal my company, and tell him I said good luck with tomorrow's opening. He'll need it. I hung up feeling stronger than I had in weeks. They're scared, Marlene observed. They wouldn't be playing these games if they weren't. Good, Peyton said. Scared people make mistakes. The next 24 hours were a blur of activity. While Craig and Jose hosted their rushed opening across town, we executed our plan perfectly. Every hour we released a new video, real women telling real stories about how our original boutique had changed their lives. By evening, our social media was exploding. The contrast couldn't have been clearer, their hasty launch versus our carefully crafted message of empowerment. Look at this, Kendall called out, showing me her tablet. Someone had posted photos from the Fletcher Fashion House opening. The space looked generic, the racks stuffed with obvious knockoffs. Their prices are higher than our old boutique, Reese noted, scrolling through their website. But the quality is exactly what you'd expect from people who think they can buy success, Peyton finished. I was hanging the last of our motivational artwork when Marlene rushed in again. You need to see this. She pulled up a local business blog. The headline read, Fletcher Fashion House Opening, Style Over Substance. The article was scathing, pointing out everything from the poor quality merchandise to the obvious attempt to copy my original concept. They're getting destroyed in the comments, Kendall said, almost gleefully. Focus, I reminded everyone. We open in 48 hours. Let them have their moment. We're playing the long game. As if to prove my point, another email arrived, this time from the Women's Investment Collective. They were increasing their funding, impressed by our handling of the situation. Ladies, I called out to my team, back to work. We've got a revolution to launch. Looking around at these powerful women who had become my partners, my friends, my support system, I felt invincible. Craig and Jose thought they could break me. Instead, they'd helped me build something far stronger than I'd ever imagined. In 2 days, we would show them exactly what they'd lost. But first, we had work to do. The line outside Phoenix Rising wrapped around the block. I stood at the second-floor window, watching as women of all ages chatted excitedly, many holding coffee cups from our outdoor cafe that we'd opened early for the occasion. 5 minutes until doors open, Kendall announced, adjusting my microphone pack. Are you ready? Born ready, I replied, though my hands shook slightly as I smoothed down my dress, a custom piece we'd designed specifically for today. Heads up, Reese called from her tablet. Craig and Jose just pulled up in that ridiculous sports car of theirs. Right on schedule, Peyton smirked. Front row seats, just as planned. I spotted them through the window, pushing their way through the crowd. Craig looked annoyed at having to wait in line, while Jose kept checking his phone, probably reading the latest reviews of their failed opening. Ladies, Marlene announced, gathering us all together. Places, please, it's showtime. The doors opened exactly at 9 a.m. The crowd poured in, gasping at the transformation. Gone was the traditional boutique layout, replaced by themed lifestyle sections, each telling a story of transformation and empowerment. I took my place on the central platform, surrounded by before and after photos of women whose lives we'd touched. Craig and Jose stood near the front, trying to look unimpressed, but failing. I looked at my husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, I supposed, and felt an odd sense of calm settle over me. You know what your problem is, Craig? You and Jose both? You think you're the ones holding all the cards. We are, Jose smirked. I opened the door wider. Get out of my boutique, both of you. And Craig, pack your bags. I want you gone by tonight. You're making a huge mistake, Craig warned. but I could see the uncertainty in his eyes. "No," I said, my voice steady. "My mistake was thinking you married me for love when all you wanted was a stepping stone. Consider those papers signed. Now get out before I call the police and have you removed for trespassing." They left, Jose practically dragging Craig, who kept looking back as if he couldn't believe I'd actually stood up to them. I locked the door behind them, flipping the open sign to closed. My phone buzzed. A text from Marlene, my mentor. "Lunch today? Have some people you need to meet." I looked around my boutique, my sanctuary, my achievement, my future. The racks of carefully selected clothing, the artfully arranged accessories, the cozy sitting area where I'd helped countless women find their perfect style. Everything I'd built with my own hands, my own vision. "Count me in," I texted back. "Time to go to war." "Welcome to Phoenix Rising," I began, my voice steady and strong. "Some of you knew us as my little boutique across town. Some of you are here because you've seen our videos. And some of you," I looked directly at Craig, "are here because you thought you could steal a dream." The crowd murmured. Craig's face reddened. "But here's the thing about dreams. They belong to the dreamers, to the fighters, to the women who refuse to be bullied or bought." I gestured to the space around us. "This isn't just a store, it's a movement. Every woman here has a story of being underestimated, overlooked, or pushed aside. Today, that stops." Peyton, Reese, and Kendall joined me on the platform. With the help of these incredible women, we've created something revolutionary, a place where fashion meets empowerment, where style meets substance, where every woman can find her voice, her strength, and her community. "This is ridiculous," Jose muttered loudly. "It's just a glorified clothing store." "Is it?" I challenged, looking straight at him. "Then explain why your knockoff boutique had only 12 customers yesterday, while we have over 300 women waiting to be part of this community." Gasps and scattered applause. Craig started to move toward the exit, but Jose grabbed his arm. "You see," I continued, "my ex-husband and his brother thought they could bully me into giving up my business. They thought they could threaten me with divorce papers and empty ultimatums. Instead, they inspired me to dream bigger." I clicked a remote, and screens around the store lit up with our success stories. Real women sharing how our original boutique had helped them rebuild their confidence, restart their careers, reclaim their lives. And now I'm proud to announce that Phoenix Rising isn't just opening here. Thanks to our incredible investors and partners, we're launching 5 more locations across the country in the next year. Craig's face went pale. This was news to him, and to most of the crowd, who erupted in cheers. "So to the men who thought they could break me," I said, my voice carrying clearly through the space, "thank you. Thank you for showing me exactly who you are. Thank you for pushing me to find my true allies. And thank you for teaching me that sometimes the best revenge is massive success." Jose stormed out, pulling Craig behind him. As they left, Marlene stepped forward with an envelope. "Oh, and Craig," I called after him, "you might want to read these. My lawyer's terms for the divorce settlement. Turns out trying to steal your wife's business during divorce proceedings doesn't look good to a judge." The crowd broke into applause and cheers as Craig finally fled. Peyton squeezed my hand as we watched them drive away. "Now," I turned back to the crowd, "who's ready to rise?" The response was deafening. Women surged forward, not just to shop, but to sign up for workshops, to join our mentorship program, to become part of something bigger than themselves. "We did it," Kendall whispered, tears in her eyes. "No," I corrected her, watching as women throughout the store embraced, shared stories, and celebrated together. "We're just getting started." The morning sun streamed through our huge windows, catching the Phoenix Rising logo and making it glow like actual flames. Somewhere across town, Craig and Jose were probably plotting their next move. But for the first time since this all began, I didn't care. They wanted to destroy me. Instead, they'd helped me soar. "The Fletcher Fashion House is officially bankrupt," Reese announced, dropping the newspaper on our conference table. They lasted exactly 3 months. I glanced at the headline while signing the last of my divorce papers. The timing felt poetic. "Good riddance," Marlene said, pouring champagne for everyone. "Though I hear Craig's already trying to pitch a new business venture to investors." "No one's biting," Peyton added with a satisfied smirk. Turns out, trying to steal your wife's business isn't great for your reputation. The door chimed and Jose walked in. The store had just closed, but he must have slipped in before the final lockup. Everyone tensed. "We're closed," Kendall said firmly, moving to intercept him. "I need to speak with Jolie," he said, looking deflated in his no longer designer suit. "Please." I nodded to Kendall. "It's okay. Let's hear what he has to say." Jose approached the table, clearly uncomfortable under the collective glare of my team. I came to apologize. "Really?" I kept my voice neutral. "Not to ask for a job?" He flinched. "I deserve that. But no, I'm moving to Seattle, starting over. I needed to tell you that you were right. About everything. Including Craig. Especially Craig. He's not the man I thought he was. Neither am I." He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "This is everything. The client lists we took, the supplier contacts, everything we used to try to compete with you. Delete it, burn it, whatever you want." I took the envelope, but didn't open it. "Why now?" "Because I watched you build something real, something that actually helps people. While we were playing businessman, you were changing lives." He turned to leave, then paused. "Craig's leaving town too, by the way. Got a job offer in Miami." "Good for him," I said, meaning it. The further away, the better. After Jose left, Peyton raised her glass. "To fresh starts?" "To karma," Reese corrected with a grin. "To us," I said, looking around at these amazing women who'd become my family. "And to what comes next." Kendall pulled up our latest numbers on the big screen. "Speaking of what comes next, our Chicago location opens next week. The pre-registration for workshops is already at capacity." "And the Phoenix Rising Foundation?" I asked. "Fully funded," Peyton confirmed. "We can start offering business grants to women entrepreneurs next month." Marlene wiped away a tear. "Remember when you thought you'd lost everything?" "I didn't lose anything," I replied. "I just had to burn it all down to see what would rise from the ashes." The door chimed again. This time it was Sarah, one of our regular clients, looking nervous but determined. "I know you're closed, but—" She held up a familiar-looking envelope. "My husband gave me divorce papers today, said I had to choose between my career and our marriage." "Come in," I said immediately, pulling out a chair. "Ladies, I think we need to order dinner. We've got some planning to do." Sarah burst into tears as we gathered around her. "I don't know what to do." "Yes, you do," Kendall said gently. "That's why you came here instead of going home." "Tell us everything," Peyton added, already taking notes. I watched as my team swung into action, doing for Sarah what they'd done for me, offering support, strategy, and strength. This was what Phoenix Rising was really about. Not revenge, not success, but transformation. "First thing tomorrow," I told Sarah, "we're getting you a lawyer, a good one." "I can't afford— The foundation will cover it," Reese interrupted. "That's what it's for." Sarah looked around at all of us, hope replacing fear in her eyes. "How do you do it? Stay so strong?" "We don't," I said honestly. "We just refuse to stay down when we fall, and we never, ever fall alone." Looking at my signed divorce papers, I felt nothing but gratitude. Craig and Jose had tried to break me, to force me into submission. Instead, they'd forced me to become unbreakable. "Welcome to the Phoenix Rising family," I told Sarah, handing her a tissue. "Now, let's talk about what you want your next chapter to look like." As we stayed late into the night, planning and supporting and building yet another woman up from the ashes of what she thought was the end, I realized something profound. All of this, wasn't just a happy ending. It was a whole new beginning, not just for me, but for every woman who walked through our doors looking for transformation and found a revolution instead. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.